I want you to look in your field book and look at how we presented the data. So pacing versus the taping versus the leveling versus the theodolite about a point and the theodolite about a line. So typically, now let's take a look at what the lab's going to be. So go to the field lab. And you remember for every field lab, we showed you how we wanted your field book set up, right? Every single one. Whether you did pacing or taping or leveling or like interior angles or angle about the point, we always showed you how we wanted everything set up. Well, now we're almost halfway through the course, and we want you to figure out how you would set it up. So let's take a look at what this lab's all about. So I'm on page 23. What does it say there? 116. 116. Okay, so lab number 6, total station, the objective twofold. One, to measure the interior angles of the traverse by repetition, and we know repetition already. And even, remember with the theodolite, you had to line up the zeros first, you had to bring it here, lock the bottom, unlock the top, unlock the bottom, bring it back, lock the bottom, lock the top, unlock the top. We're doing the same thing with the total station, same exact. Then, but the only thing is there aren't these numbers. It's all programmed. So you'll see, you know, when we look at the manuals, but there's like a button that you press that's telling it to do certain things, and another button you're pressing. So you don't have to keep turning these, but you could visualize that because you've already done that with the theodolite, and that's really what you're doing. You're just doing it electronic, and the program inside is computing everything. And then the other thing is to determine the horizontal lengths of all sides of the traverse. And why don't you just read this, do the interior angle measurement, just read this to yourself right now. And then look up when you finish reading it so you know. Okay. So just read the interior angle measurement. Okay. Does it sound like the theodolite lab? You're setting up an A, right? You're setting it to 0. You cite B, turn the angle to C, bring the angle from C back to B, turn it to C, and record the result, right? And then you move your equipment and you go to B. It's the same lab, you're just using a different equipment now. Okay, what about the horizontal distance? Oh, and notice also that you're going to look at what your error is, right? You have to be within this, and you're adding up all the angles. They should be 180, and the error that you have has to be within the allowable error, and then you adjust the angle, exactly like you did on the theodolite lab. So now what about the horizontal distance? Like the taping lab, you measure from A to B, measure from B to A, and then you have to check the precision. And what's the allowable precision here? 1 foot error in 5,000 feet. Why don't you flip back? What was the allowable error in taping? Just looking at field books. Was it 1 in 1,000? So am I giving you a more lenient or a stricter? Stricter. Because in taping you were allowed a 1 foot error in 1,000 feet, and now I'm allowing you a 1 foot error in 5,000 feet. So it's a fifth of the error before. So now what I want us to think about is looking at those field books and seeing how you set up the field books. I want to come up with a plan, because I'm not showing you how to set up the field book. I'm going straight on to laboratory number 7. I want you to think about how you would like to set up your field book. How many columns do you have in your field book? I think it's 7. 6? Good. Can you make 7? Sure. You could just put a black line right down one of these. But right now we're starting with 6. So take a look at your lab, your field books for the pacing, the taping, the leveling, and the 2 angles, and think about, okay, let's do the angle part first. Take a look at your field books and talk to the person next to you and find out what information, if you had to design how you're going to set up your field book for this lab, what would you put in the first column? What would you put in the second column? What would you put in the third column, 4th, 5th, and 6th?